This is macosken.
Something strange in Arizona. Apple argues against its own dominance, and the CEO of Intel's just funnin'. It's Thursday, the 25th of March, 2021. I'm Ken Ray, and this is news from macosken, brought to you by yours truly and sponsored by Sunbasket. Get $90 off and 4 free gifts across your first 4 deliveries at sunbasket.com/macosken. This show is also supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/macosken. Something strange happened in Arizona on Wednesday, and that something that was expected to happen did not. According to a report from Apple Insider, Arizona lawmakers on Wednesday did not vote or discuss a hotly contested bill that sought to allow third-party payment systems on app stores run by Apple and Google. You may remember the ballot of HB 2005, passed by the Arizona House of Representatives earlier this month. The report says HB 2005 would have and may still prohibit companies that run app stores from forcing developers to use one type of in-app payment system. It would also prohibit those companies from retaliating against app makers who use third-party systems. It was supposed to be debated and voted on by the Arizona Senate on Wednesday. Instead, Apple Insider says the action was passed over without explanation. I said earlier that the bill would have and may still have certain effects. The report says the fate of HB 2005 remains unclear. No officials in the Arizona Senate appear to have commented on the bill's omission. Remember when Apple first introduced the iPhone and developers wondered how they'd develop for it, and Steve Jobs said web apps, and developers figured out how to jailbreak iPhone and write apps for it because who wants a web when you can make an app for that? And Apple eventually relented and opened the App Store, and there was much rejoicing from the developer community for about a decade. Yeah, Apple has apparently not moved beyond the whole web thing. A piece from ZDNet has Apple addressing charges of anti-competitive behavior to the Australian Competition and Consumer Commission, or ACCC. Basically, Apple says it doesn't have undue power in any market because there are other platforms, other app stores, and the whole big World Wide Web. The way the Cupertino company says it sees it, Apple faces competitive constraints from distribution alternatives within the iOS ecosystem, including developer websites and other outlets through which consumers may obtain third-party apps and use them on their iOS devices and outside of iOS. Even if a user only owns iOS-based devices, distribution is far from limited to the Apple App Store because developers have multiple alternative channels to reach that user. The whole web is available to them, and iOS devices have unrestricted and uncontrolled access to it. One common approach is for users to purchase and consume digital content or services on a website. As for the commissions Apple charges on sales of apps, in-app purchases, and various forms of media, Apple says many platforms charge commission rates comparable to or in excess of Apple's. Many platforms also charge users a service fee for payments on top of their commissions, while Apple does not. Equally, the company continues, anti-circumvention provisions are necessary to protect consumers and partners alike and reduce free riding by requiring transactions to take place on their secure platforms and to safeguard the business model adopted. I wonder if anybody said any of that to the folks in Arizona. Big trouble for shortcut sharing this week. For folks who don't use them, Apple says a shortcut is a quick way to get one or more tasks done with your apps. The Shortcuts app lets you create your own shortcuts with multiple steps. What's cool is if you make an interesting or useful shortcut, you can share it with other people. What's not cool is links to shortcuts made a week ago or longer are suddenly not working. Apple Insider says Shortcuts users on iOS are reporting severe problems with previously shared collections of links. Any shortcut sharing link, unless created in the last few days, is failing with the error message, "Shortcut not found." Newer Shortcuts links are working fine according to the piece, as are links to shortcuts in Apple's own Shortcuts gallery. Props to Oliver Haslam over at iMore, by the way, for chasing down a comment. Wednesday night, Thursday morning, Oliver hit Twitter with a comment from the Cupertino company. It said, "We are aware of an issue where previously shared shortcuts are currently unavailable. Newly shared shortcuts are available, and we are working to restore previously shared shortcuts as quickly as possible." More news in a moment, but first a word from Sunbasket, delivering oven-ready meals that are fast, fresh, and delicious. Sunbasket wants you to eat well and love what you're eating, and they've made that easier than ever. Ready for your oven or your microwave, their fresh and ready meals mean you could be trying something new in no time. Delicious meals like butter chicken with basmati rice pilaf, or shrimp Diablo tacos with roasted peppers and queso fresco. Their fresh and ready meals are just $8.99, so they're good for your body and your budget. Everything I've had from Sunbasket has been great. And here's something else that's great. Right now, Sunbasket has a limited time offer. Get $90 off and 4 free gifts across your first 4 deliveries, including free shipping on the first box when you go right now to sunbasket.com/macosken and enter promo code macosken at checkout. That's sunbasket.com/macosken and enter promo code macosken at checkout for $90 off and 4 free gifts across your first 4 deliveries, plus free shipping on your first box. sunbasket.com/macosken and enter promo code macosken. Offer expires on the 13th of April. Intel CEO has an interesting take on the ad campaign his company's running against Apple. Apparently, he's just funnin'. Yahoo Finance ran an interview Wednesday with Intel CEO Pat Gelsinger. Gelsinger made news earlier in the week announcing plans for a couple of chip plants in Arizona. Part of their output would be for Intel, while another part would go toward producing chips for other chip makers. Say what TSMC does for Apple with its A-series chips and Apple Silicon. In fact, Gelsinger would like for Apple to be one of Intel's clients. I pointed out here yesterday that running ads bashing Apple was an odd way to try for that business, but Gelsinger doesn't seem to see it as odd. He sees it as fun. Quoting the CEO, "Obviously, you've seen some of the competitive energies in chip making resume because there's a lot of great innovation to be done, and we haven't seen PC demand at this level for a decade and a half. The world needs more of that, and there is competitive fun going on with Apple and the Mac ecosystem." As for getting Apple's chip-making business, yeah, that would be fun too. Gelsinger went on to say, "Apple is a customer, and I hope to make them a big foundry customer, because today they're wholly dependent on Taiwan Semiconductor. We want to present great options for them to leverage our foundry services as well, just like we're working with Qualcomm and Microsoft to leverage our foundry. We're going to be delivering great technology, some things that can't be done anywhere else in the world." Diversification in the supply chain, contributing more to the U.S. economy. A lot of Gelsinger's Apple ideas make sense. Still not sure poking them in the eye makes sense, but we all have our own ideas of fun. Another well-known actor is headed to Apple TV+. Deadline says Alexander Siddig has signed on to the sweeping international drama series Shantaram. He joins Charlie Hunnam, who was announced for the show back in 2019. Siddig is best known for his role as Dr. Julian Bashir in Star Trek Deep Space Nine. He also had a recurring role on Game of Thrones. In movies, Deadline says Siddig recently turned up in 21 Bridges and Skylines. Hunnam is likely best known for his role as Jax Teller on the FX series Sons of Anarchy. He spent time on the big screen as well in such films as Pacific Rim and King Arthur, Legend of the Sword. As for what it's about, Deadline says Shantaram tells the story of Lynn, Hunnam, a man on the run from an Australian prison looking to get lost in the teeming city of Bombay. Cut off from family and friends by distance and fate, he finds a new life in the slums, bars, and underworld of India. Siddig will play the series' regular role of Kader Khan, the revered kingpin of Bombay's underworld, who acts as a surrogate father to Lynn. 12 episodes expected for the series, which got 2 in the can over a year ago. Shantaram was one of the first productions shut down by the coronavirus outbreak early in 2020. Shooting on the other 10 episodes is expected to start in May. Good news for one of the few comedies on Apple TV+. The Mac Observer says the second season of the British comedy Trying, about a couple trying to adopt, has a premiere date. Really, I guess that's good news for fans of the show. Set your VCR for Friday the 14th of May. I know I will, because I love anachronism. The good news for both parties, people producing the show and people who like to watch, they all get more to produce and watch. Apple has given the green light for a third season of the series, according to the Mac Observer. And finally today, when is a piece of paper a good investment? When it's a quirky part of Steve Jobs' history. You may remember a story I brought you a little over a month ago. It was the one that had a job application filled out by Jobs going up for auction. From what was likely one of the last quiet times in Jobs' life, a piece from iMore says Jobs reportedly completed the application in 1973 after dropping out of Reed College. It was also around a year before Jobs took a role at Atari, a move that saw him meet up with Steve Wozniak. They, of course, founded Apple, which went on to make socks for iPods, cases for iPhones, and, of course, iPods and iPhones, among other things. When it went up for auction in 2018, the application in question fetched somewhere in the neighborhood of $175,000. Like a fine wine, it has only gotten better with age. The auction closed this week with the application selling for $222,400. macOS Ken, brought to you by me and sponsored by Sunbasket. Get $90 off and 4 free gifts across your first 4 deliveries at sunbasket.com/macOSken with offer code macOSken. This show is also supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/macOSken. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media. Online at backbeatmedia.com. You can reach me a couple of ways. Info at macosken.com or call 716-780-4080. Until next time, that is news from macOS Ken. I'm Ken Ray.
Ciao.